And welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mystic Raven. All right, guys. So, Horns of the Reach went live yesterday. So, for a lot of for majority of the PC players, they already know what has happened because they usually go through the patch notes. But unfortunately, Xbox and console players are still kind of like left in the dark. So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over the patch that's labeled 3.15, but I'm just going to call it Horns of the Reach, patch. So here we go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and go down, and we're going to kind of, go over all the changes. All right. Got a couple of things going on here. Bloodroot Forge and Falkreath Hold. These are the two new dungeons. Kind of gives a little background on both. Got some new collectibles going on. New item sets. Draugr's Rest, Max Magicka, Magicka Recovery, Healing Done. When you heal damage with a fully charged heavy attack, you create a circle of consecrated ground. Same thing as the PTS. I don't necessarily like the secondary effect. I mean, it's an okay proc. If I was going to run this for maybe vets, that's fine. Definitely probably want to run it in trial. Pillar of Nirn, max stamina, weapon critical, weapon damage. When you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a fissure. It's any type of damage. So maybe a back bar dual wield proc setup would be pretty good with this set. Definitely not primary. Iron Blood, health, physical, spell resistance. When you take damage, you have an 8% chance to turn your blood. 15 seconds. No, man, that's kind of long. Got my shoulders in this yesterday. Dalmahas, definitely worth it. This monster set is definitely worth it. 15 seconds is a little derated. It is a little long, but what it does is pretty killer. Like it. Scaling, how it scales, works out really nice. Bloodroot Forge, Max Magicka, spell damage, spell penetration. That's probably one of the first times that they've started introducing spell pens into anything or even any type of penetration into the fourth. So it's kind of interesting to start seeing that. We can, speculate that some of the new sets going to come up is going to have some sort of effect like that. When you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to summon a line of flame. I'm getting the Flame Blossom. I'm going to be farming this. I got one piece yesterday. Then, everything kind of lagged out, and I didn't get to finish the dungeon, unfortunately. But I did get one piece that I was looking for in my Flame Blossom already, so I'm pretty happy about that. Blood Drinker, weapon crit. Weapon damage, weapon critical, increase the damage you deal with bleed damage over time affects by 20%. That'd be good for axes. Like dual axes on the back end. That'd be pretty good. Hagraven's Garden, max health, health recovery, healing taken, tank set, earth gore. This is killer. I have my shoulders. I never use it in PvE, PvP. Debatable. It's a new die, new battleground. I didn't get to test Chaos Ball yet. I am excluding myself from battlegrounds. Personal reasons at this point. They got a new map, all cool. 3 new motifs. I love how they come out with all these motifs. I'm still trying to get more ones motifs, but I'm now trying to play catch up since I'm on 2 different platforms. I used to keep up with motifs. Now becoming behind, but it's cool. Keep up the good job, Zoss. Miscellaneous quality, crafting, gameplay, combat queues. This is kind of cool. I'm not going to lie here. On the gameplay, the combat queue system, go into your options. You can actually, control combat queue. I don't know how it's going to work on console, so we'll see. Damage over time abilities now displays the number of hits you received. This is pretty cool. Okay. Got some new stuff going on for master rights. That's cool. Champion point increase. All right, I'm getting 30 more points. We knew that. PTS. Fixed a couple issues in the battlegrounds. Okay, let's take a look at the nerf or the nerf bats coming out. Let's see how it works. Or the fixes. Cutting dive. Dive morph. The morph can now be cast while you are silenced. Yeah, we covered that. I don't agree, but whatever. Subterranean assault. This morph can now be cast while you are silenced. Once again, I don't agree, but whatever. I'm not the developer. Budding seed. This morph can now be cast even if you have an enemy targeted in your erectile. That makes sense. It does. Okay, Winter's Embrace. Pretty much all of this is the same. Trials. Alt fabrication. Bugs. Just 2 of them. Couple of the quests. Dungeons. The Overfiend calls for? Okay. Reduce the health of Lord Warden's dust clones. Well, that's actually a blessing in disguise. That can be a pain in the ass. This is a big one too. The Moth Priest vision. Especially during that one boss. Definitely. If it works that way, I haven't got to test it. Cradle of Shadows. Okay. Maul. Combat. Let's see. This is definitely, you know, everything on this is pretty much stayed the same, right? All right. So, adjusted elemental status effects such as burning or concussion. So they now scale with your max magicka and max stamina in addition to spell damage or weapon damage. Their damage has also been adjusted due to this new scaling. Burning now lasts 4 seconds and ticks every 2, previously lasting 3 seconds and ticking every 1.5 seconds. The total damage tick remains unchanged. All right, so poison has been reduced. It now lasts 4 seconds. All the dot effects have changed with Horns of the Reach. All right, it's not really going to affect PvE that much, right? Where this affects this is PvP, because let's be honest, anybody rolling a dot build in PvP really became more ineffective. I think my Magicka DK was prime example of that. I'd walk out with like 20 assists as a Magicka DK and have like maybe 1 or 2 killing blows. That's it. That's all I would have. But, and same thing with any other stamina poison build. Stamina DK, for example, same effect. DK was huge on this. Concussions, all these other effects, just relatively wasn't doing, it wasn't effective compared to some of the other bursts, more burst, practical burst we'd see in Cyrodiil or PvP. So now, this becomes a little bit more scarier if you're a PvPer. PvE, it really hasn't affected too much. They balanced it out, especially with the DK. Now I'll get into that. Dodge rolling now grants immunity to immobilization when used while you are silenced. Makes sense. I'm going to silence. I'm going to dodge roll, and I'm going to grant immobilization. That makes sense, especially if I'm a Magicka user. I might have to start paying attention to how much stamina I have, because now it would benefit me to actually be able to dodge roll. Especially when you're in a nice big bubble from a Sork. But hey. The bonus damage dealt by execution abilities now work more intuitively with global damage done bonuses. It's great. Cool. That's actually really good. Combustion, we know this. They nerfed it. That's the offset because what they did here. If they applied this and didn't nerf this, Magic of DK would be completely out of control. Completely. Dark Talons, this ability, and a Choking Talons morph now deal magic damage, physical damage. I don't agree. Like, Choking Talons should be dealing poison damage. It shouldn't be dealing magic. Shouldn't be dealing physical. We have Burning Talons, which deals flame damage, right? Choking indicates, like, you know, I've been poisoned or something. I don't know. Maybe it should be dealing, I don't know, a stamina ability, because that's the problem with the stamina DKs. They get the bonus to their combustion. Problem of it is they don't get a lot of abilities that do poison right here. So maybe Choking should deal, I don't know, poison damage. Just a thought. Whatever. Obsidian Shard, Stonefist Morph, increases the radius, DK Healer. I'm loving this. I run DK Healer. So, badass. Surge. This ability is morph now uses the highest critical strike rating to determine their critical strike chance. Yes, please, and thank you. Dawnbreaker. This ability and its morph can no longer be dodged. Ouch. You still, you can't dodge it, right? Because you used to be able to dodge, literally, if you were in its path, it should never have been dodged. But you can still avoid it. Like, you can still roll out of it so long as you can roll before they hit it, you're avoiding. It's a difference. You're avoiding it. You're not dodging it. Dawnbreaker should be unavoidable because it's a path. It's a very limited path in which it's targeted. So, yeah, a couple of my vampires don't like Dawnbreaker, and they're going to even hate it worse, but whatever. I'm just wondering if, like, stealth, because stealthers used to be able to avoid it just to drop stealth and it dodge it. So is that going to apply even through the stealth, like, you know, cloaks? If that applies through cloaks, badass. Fire Rune, like I said, booby trap builds now. Prepare for it. People are going to start building these stupid booby trap builds. It's going to be annoying as fuck. The lady, shield expert. Okay. Buffs and debuffs, major and minor defile. This debuff now decreases the enemy's health recovery in addition to decreasing their healing received. Yeah, this is, and it's right here. It's to combat Troll King. Troll King is really, you know, huge deal. But to be honest with you, yesterday I was PvPing late night. You know, before I go to bed, I spend about sometimes like an hour maybe in Cyrodiil and PvP. And there are a couple of tanks on there on the PS4 server that literally can just, if they go unchecked, right? They have an insane amount of health recovery, and they can amp their healing received. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous what they can do. And this is going to help combat that. So, kudos. The values and bonuses and Munduses. Okay, so here's the readjustments. Nothing's changed with this aspect except this, the shadow. Okay, we were getting 18. A lot of people, like yesterday, they said it's a nerf, but it really isn't a nerf. Let me explain. Like, a lot of the YouTubers are crying, right, about the shadow, because they really don't know how to offset Mundus with their CP system, and they, you know, it got reduced, and they're like, oh, it got nerfed, it's, oh, why, and they were crying about it. It's like, okay, guys, listen, the shadow is still a good Mundus, depending on your sets, and then depending on what you're trying to do. Like, for example, if I was going to run a trial, sometimes I switch out Munduses accordingly. So if I'm running, let's say, the Warrior, typically, because this increases my base damage, I actually get more DPS from the Warrior, which has been increased. It's not always going to be the best performing Mundus, because if I'm in a trial and I'm getting the crit increases from either Stamina Knight Blade for weapon critical, or if I'm a Magicka user getting the spell critical from a sorcerer for dark magic passive, the Shadow along with Warhorn is still going to be a really good Mundus in those scenarios. So it's not a bad Mundus, it's just situational, right, guys? You have to understand you're going to lower your base damage due to not taking like something like the Warrior or the Apprentice, and then you want to capitalize when you need to. And that's when you take the Shadow, because base damage is going to drop, but critical damage will spike. That'll apply, especially during those Warhorn rotations. So this is why a lot of people always burn me, because I always said I do not use Twiceborn Star. And they're like, well, because the Thief and the Shadow. And I'm like, the Thief I don't need. The Shadow I'll take because still in Trials because of the spike. So yes, Shadow is still going to be good in situations. So please don't be one of those players who are crying and whining about the Shadow nerf. It's not really that bad of a deal, especially if you know how to control your CP points. Okay, so we got increase to the Apprentice, got increase to the Astronaut. This is big time if you need recovery, right? Big time. The Lady for tanks who for some reason wouldn't have physical and spell resistance in their set. Don't know why. I mean, I guess there is a certain build I am working on where I might want to take this. But, yeah. The Lover. This is big one. Big Lover. If you're not running a penetrated value set, or you don't have enough penetration, stamina users, please pay attention. You're going to want to take the Lover. Okay? It's going to be more beneficial for certain builds that don't have penetrating sets to take the Lover versus the Warrior, because you need those penetrating values. But if you have penetrating values, the Warrior is still going to be good unless you're not running a crit set. If you're not running a crit set, you're still going to want to take the Thief, even though it got a reduction, right? And then that along with your precise weapon trait. So heads up. The Mage, increase max magicka. This is good. This is good for resources. If you're stacking a crit set with spell damage, you don't have enough resources. Like any type of spell damage and crit, or weapon damage and crit, you don't have enough resources. This is when you want to take the Mage, or the Tower. The Serpent, increased stamina recovery. Once again, important if you need recovery. Went over the Shadow. The Steed, increased health recovery. That's nice. Tanks who don't have a health recovery boost, or anybody PvPing want to have a health recovery boost. Went over the Thief. It's got a reduction from so no biggie. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but keep in mind that this guy's, even though the Thief got reduced, critical bonuses on sets have spiked up, right? And so it has the precise weapon trait. So don't hit the panic button. Once again, it's to balance out the equation. That's all it's doing. The Warrior increased weapon damage, and the Ritual remains unchanged. All right. Some of the visual effects that were causing, some situations, they say. So they've hidden them. Ash Cloud, Caltrops, Hurricane. There's a slew of them. Affected item sets abilities. Sure. Fix a couple of the issues going on here with Spears and Neurotic Orbs. Had fixed an issue where cooldown buffs from Spear Shards and Neurotic Orb synergies had different names. Alright guys, so let me... if they had different names, right? If you took the opposite morph to, like, let's say, orbs. Say I went with the energy orbs instead of neurotic orbs, the GCD would not apply. It was a bug. So you could draw out both and they could synergize with it. They fixed it. Okay? It wasn't supposed to be doing that anyways. It was just a bug. So they fixed it. Trying to think. But shards and neurotic orbs are on the same GCD. It was just the morphs that were causing the problem. Dark Talons, weapons, restoration staff, werewolf. There's a couple of things with werewolf. Like for PvP, I never use it for PvE. PvP, once I have it, because I'll slot it for regen. But I do have the abilities unlocked, and I'm thinking about putting a werewolf build together. Some of these things are very important, especially with Roar. Fix an issue where this ability and morphs were not displaying a debuff icon for their off-balance effect. You know, that's one thing for console players. We didn't get debuff icons, and it was a really pain in the ass to know when to avoid mechanics due to that. PC, we don't have that issue. But now they, you know, since they've implemented buff icons, it fixes the problem. Well, so long as you're paying attention to your indicators. Spoiler, these are everything that's going on. Nirnholm increased the bonus damage from 15 to 11. I really want to cover this really quick. So it's on my Nightblade yesterday is running Nirnholm. I'm not seeing the increase as much as from the 11 to the 15. I'm not seeing that 4% increase. I was getting about 200 with the sword prior, so I'm going to do a comparison probably today, strip myself down, just put on my Nirnholm and see what console's giving me versus live. But for some reason, I don't know if it is working as intended. I don't know, but I couldn't really notice it. But Nirnholm's still really strong for crafted sets. I told you guys that. Now they're all saying it, but just hey. You know, they changed their minds, whatever. Decisive, increase the chance to generate, if you're going with crafted set base. If you're not, don't worry about it. Increase the chance to generate one additional ultimate. Decisive, love decisive on Sorks. Love it. Defending, I don't like this, but I have to deal with it. Reduce the physical and spell resistance for defending trait from 5160 to 7. That does hurt on certain builds. Infused, there was a bug going on with Torok's pack. Everybody was getting ready to call it BIS, and devs were like, oh, thanks for the, letting us know about that bug. A huge nerf pack came flying down. Bam! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Bam! So double infused was proccing's not supposed to do that, along with Torok's pack. Yeah, it was not working as intended. Somebody had asked me, Mystic, I'm like, do not get any of that shit. Do not listen to that shit. It's still in test. I will fix it. That's why it's called test. So they got it fixed. Increase the bonus value granted applied. Enchantments 30 to 20. It's still this is still a good trait. Infused. So you can still proc it up on the offhand. Apply it. Still works out really, really strong. Right? Powered. I love this for my healers. Increase from 7 to 9. Sharpen, we all know, got a nerf bat. Hence, stamina users, pay attention to the lever. You might want to, hey, whatever. Charge, intricate, ornate, precise. Training remain unchanged. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so precise does remain unchanged, hence why you might need it in certain scenarios, depending. Prosperous armor trait has been redesigned. Yeah, I checked that out. Not enough per one piece, in my opinion. Just not enough. Not enough to justify taking out a divine or an infused piece. They should have spiked this up a little bit more. Made it more attractive. I love it. I love that the fact that they redesigned Prosperous armor. Right? So, and they renamed it to Invigorating. I love that. It's just not attractive enough with only 11. It gives you all 3. It does. For PvP, this could be something. PvE, it's not enough to pull up a piece. It's just not. Reduce the damage on Oblivion. Ouch. Holy crap. By 36%. Yeah, PvP is what it is. Weapon enchantments will no longer proc if the initial attack is dodged. Makes sense. But hey, man, at least the GCD doesn't burn on it. Whatever. All the values increase to sets. We're aware of that. Max health, magicka, stamina by 13.3. Weapon criticals still 21%. Hence why they adjusted the value of Night Mothers. Everybody's farming Night Mothers and getting ready for this crazy, stupid, ridiculous crit setup. And they were like, you know what? I don't think you guys are getting it. So they kind of nerfed Mother Sorrow. But, yeah. Other than that, though, all the values have increased by 21%. Mother Sorrow is still a good set, so don't think it isn't. It's just not going to work out as the other testers intended. Physical or spell resistance has been increased by 13.8. It's good. And penetration has been decreased by 22. We've only seen this in a few because it doesn't affect the fifth like Spinners or Spriggans. I even thought it did. It doesn't. You know, all of this stuff hasn't changed. Yeah, everything, you know, so basically it's like this. Amber Plasm decreased the magicka, stamina recovery. Beekeeper decreased the health recovery. Death's Wind. I used to use this when I was leveling. Don't use it. Grants crowd control immunity to the enemy after knocking them back. I love Death's Wind, but the problem of it is it just doesn't. The proc timer is not valid, really, in a lot of scenarios. Hulking Draugr increased. Green Pack decreased the max health granted. Holy shit. That hurts. To 25 from 4,000. But they increased the health recovery by 50. Oosh. Ouchies. Ow. That one hurts. Grothar decreased the damage of this item set proc by 10%. Lambert's decreased the damage of this item set by 10%. I hated this one. Ironblood decreased the snare applied. Leviathan increased the weapon critical. Same thing. This and Mother Sorrow got buffs. It's still good. They just readjust the value. Don't hit panic button. You can still use the sets depending on your build. Lord Warden increased the radius. Love that. Maul of Infernal deals flame damage instead of a mixture of flame and physical. I don't know how I feel about that. I wonder if that would apply the the burning status effect and for the stamina DK. This could be really good for stam DK now. Physical's good, but if it applies the status effect, they get that bonus jump. So the damage would be more in favor for stam DK. Huh, interesting. Mother Sorrow increased, even though the values got the value got adjusted on PTS. It's still increased. It's still a buff for Mother Sorrow, right? So don't think it isn't a buff. They just nerfed it down a little bit. It was a little bit more than what the devs were anticipating. Necropotence reduced the max magicka. Neurinus increased the item's proc chance by 20 and decreased the delay. Love that. I'm working on a build with Neurinus. I'm glad to see this coming back into effect. For PvP, you never use it. PvE, it's going to have applications. Night Flame, don't really care. Don't really like that set much. Plague Doctor decreased the max health granted by 2. Ow. Fuck. Damn, man. Shit. Poisonous Serpent. Yeah, I have this set. Goods and bads. Cut the damage by half, but increased the proc by 25. Okay. Selene. PvP. Nerf bats. Skeletrex. This got bumped. This definitely is going to be a pretty damn good set all around. Shadowren, working on a build with this for tank, Sork tank. Shadow the Red Mountain. I don't know. Spawns a volcano that erupts. It's unavoidable. Shield Breaker. Shield Breaker. Yeah. If anybody's running shield setups like, I don't know, Mag Sorks, good set. A lot of people will whine or QQ about it, but hey, it's in there for a reason. Slime Crawl. I get it. Works out pretty good. Spawn of Mephilia. Increase the damage of this set's proc by 5% and change the 1% bonus. Spinners. Decrease the spell penetration granted by this set. Not by much. Definitely going to have to pay attention to a little bit of values. Same thing with Spriggans. It's fine. Storm Fist. Increase the shock damage. So I use Storm Fist on my Stam Sork. It's not really going to... It's actually going to help me if anything. Swarm Mother. Decrease the cooldown of the item set proc from 1 second to 2 seconds. Okay. Turok's Pack. Turok's Pack is still a good set. But look, fix an issue where this item set bonus was modifying the strength and cooldown of poisons. It's doing a lot more than that. But they definitely kind of fixed that whole bug thing with the double proc. That's what it was doing. It was just a bug. Thermoscale. This item set now occurs after a 1 second delay instead of dealing unavoidable. Yeah. That sucks. I run Thermoscale on a PvP build. That sucks. Twice Fang Serpent. Reduce the physical penetration granted. Velodrath. This item set proc now occurs after 1 second delay. Sure. Why not? What's the point of ambush? I ambushed you. Break, roll. You know, really quick. You got a second. May or may not have hit you. Viper Sting. I'm glad they fixed the spelling. The item set proc now deals its damage over 4 seconds. So it's a dot. Funny thing is, even though they reduce dot ticks, this is static. It's 4 seconds regardless. Yeah, believe it. Widowmaker. I love Widowmaker. Problem of it is the GCD to applied poison. This set would be so badass for PvE if the spore in front of me for the 1 second. No one's going to use this for PvP no more because of the 1 second, and it's on the ground. It's not like literally hit the target for the applied effect. Problem of it is the way Widowmaker procs on poison. The poison applied poisons have GCD. It would be badass for PvE if that effect would be slightly different, but unfortunately, it's a good set. It's just, you know, that cooldown's noticeable. Just it is. Willow's Path, percentage increase to recovery granted by this set will now modify all flat increases to recovery such as drinks. Okay. Fix a couple of issues with like Engine Guardian, Light Speaker, Shroud of Lich, Vestments of the Warlock. Okay. Traits. Fix an issue where the cooldown of the Prismatic Weapon enchantment was not being reduced by the Infused trait. Okay. Infused. Fix an issue where Infused Weapons was not reducing the cooldown on Oblivion damage enchantments. Yeah, we all know that was a little noticeable, but I mean, who cares? It was Oblivion damage. You get hit with it along with the other effects. I didn't really care about that bug. Some people probably would, but now with the nerf to Oblivion, okay. Let's see. Just general stuff. Audio, economics. Sometimes I pay attention to this stuff. I'm sure you guys aren't really interested in it. More fixes. Okay, so this is their reasoning. I love this. Thank you, Gina. I'm glad you actually put this last page in here. It's actually pretty cool. Reduce the bonus critical damage from the Shadow Mundus stone to 9 from 12. Reduce the critical strike chance of the thief. So this is everything they've changed from PTS to live. Fix an issue where the werewolf transformation ability ended early. Remove the changes to precise traits, so now it remains unchanged. Renamed the prosperous to invigorating. It was cool. Reduce the damage of health, oblivion. Only the weapon you are currently holding will now proc enchantments. This resolves some issues where you would cast an ability, then weapon swap, and your weapon enchantment would proc. It was stacking up. Yeah, you know, that's the double infuse proc bug. Increase the weapon critical or spell critical. Should have had the same GCD anyways, but it didn't. Increase the weapon critical strike rating from Leviathan. Increase the spell from Mother Sorrow. Fix an issue where the bonus from Turok's pack sets. Yes, with poisons. It was affecting more than poisons, but I'm glad you indicated poisons. But it's same effect. It still, you know, fixed it. Reduce the physical penetration granted by twice Fang Serpent from 860 to 1,000. They did that with Spriggans and Spinners. That's, you know, it is what it is. Fix an issue where monsters summoned by Shadowrun and Morkelden item sets would attack sneaking or invisible players. Oh, man, come on. That was probably my favorite part of some of those sets. There's them flying around, you know, attacking, still trying to hit them when they were sneaking and when they dropped stealth. Son of a... I love the pet bug, too, where your pet would attack them, and then when they drop stealth, they still chase them. So I wonder if that fixed that. Dang it, man. It's how you're able to keep track of the little bastards. I guess it's an exploit, so they fixed it. Go Nightblades. Fixed an issue where the debuff applied by the wizard's reposit item would be remove invisibility from your target. Okay. Fixed an issue where the cooldown for prismatic weapon enchantments was not being reduced by the infused trait. Yes, okay, that makes sense. It does. Thank you, Gina. I appreciate you putting in this last page. Help clarify it. Just, you know, for the record. You know, this was kind of a needed thing. So there it is, guys. Pretty much said and done. What has been implemented into the live servers. It's really not, everything's actually good. So a lot of people, I just want to kind of wrap this up with what people are talking about. So majority of the YouTubers can't figure out what BIS is. And one specific YouTuber who I bashed yesterday, and a couple people didn't like it. So a couple people, you know, said why. And I'm like, listen, man, I didn't want to be a YouTuber. The only reason I am a YouTuber is because of these players. It's the only reason I'm here. It's the only reason I'm here. But unfortunately, I got a job to do. And I got to set people straight. That's the only reason I'm here, guys. It's it. You know, it is what it is. You know. But, anyways, a couple of people were being like, it's not diverse. You know, the Horns of the Reach introduced such a, you know, a way to keep closing the gap, so there wasn't, you know, a BIS system. And I'm like, well, first thing of it is you guys couldn't figure it out, and even if you ever do claim there is a BIS, trust you and me, guys, I will be here to smack you fucking backwards with bats to prove your ass is wrong. Had a couple people posting yesterday, talking stupid shit, like I didn't know what I was talking about, and then when he posted his updated video after I posted mine, and talking about every key point that I hit on. People was like the shadow, and now he's like, oh, well, the warrior's out DPSing my shadow. Well, no fucking duh. No fucking duh. Base damage. Not the shadow. Shadow's, it's not saying the shadow isn't a good Mundus. It's circumstantial. It's situational. You gotta, you know, use it in applied situations. Trial's still going to be good. Still going to be good. You know, you're going to get those buffs, those innate buffs from Mag Sorks using Dark and Stam Blades. You got those two in there. hey man, those passives are going to apply. People are going to get bumped. Shadow's going to do good. It's just with the Warhorn rotation. It's not going to change. So that shit's not changing. So, you know, your window of opportunity for Warhorn was reduced, you know, what, 2 updates ago? Whatever. But it's still good. It's still good. Whatever. Don't complain about it. I'm crying over spilled milk. Swear. But yeah, guys, a couple of these YouTubers, they can't figure it out. And you know, maybe next week I'll go ahead and I'll go over how you can customize your build a little bit more, because there is diversity in this game. A lot. There's a shitload of diversity. You know, I tell people I have trial sets. Certain situations I don't use trial sets because trial sets will hinder my build. Now, also it's beneficial, especially with the new sets, that 1 or 2 players are using it, because what it does is it spikes up your group damage. It's a modifier applied to your party. So not everybody has to run it, but what it actually does, it will lower their DPS, because, you know, it doesn't take away from the static. You don't want to take it from the static. You want to take it from the back end proc. When you do that and you apply it, it will buff your party, spiking damage modifiers. It's a damage modifier spike. Boom, boom, boom across the board. So each set is situational. Like Alkosh, I use Alkosh on my stamps for a reason. I can get through all that trials with the setup, but I use it more or less in trials. When I do trials, I'm not a hardcore trial runner. I do it when I need stuff or when I want to help players. So I will go ahead and then I'll jump on like certain builds for certain situations. Alkosh on my Stam Sork is more beneficial because when I'm activating it, it applies. I don't want Alkosh on a tank. I never did. But it's a DPS set, but the applied effect benefits all my party members. So yes, I'm going to use it. It's like, you know, Night Mothers. One party member using Night Mothers, the rest don't need it. But the applied effect is beneficial to all Stam users. So you guys got to make sure who's wearing what, how is it applied, how's this, you know, affecting your party members. And that's where the Shadow comes in, you know, during the Warhorn rotation. Not going to be the best scenario for vet dungeons, but for trials, it's still really strong. So guys, just pay attention, man. That's it. You're going to lose base damage. Your base damage is going to drop from putting it on, but critical rotation, it's going to be perfect. All right, so if you have any questions, comments, please post below. I hope this update helps everybody. And once again, and always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.